So, India's most populous state, Uttar Pradesh, just dropped a budget that is, well, it's so massive, it could literally reshape the entire country's economy. We're talking over 9 trillion rupees here. So, what's the big plan? And is this what finally turns UP into that trillion-dollar powerhouse everyone's talking about? All right, let's dive in and break it all down. Okay, first things first, let's just wrap our heads around the sheer scale we're dealing with. UP has 240 million people. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire population of Brazil. So you can imagine, when UP's economy makes a move, it doesn't just make a splash, it creates massive waves across all of India. And here it is, the big headline number for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Over 9.12 lakh crore rupees. That is, by far, the largest budget in the state's history. It's not just a budget, it's a huge statement of intent, really designed to pour fuel on the fire for its next big wave of growth. Now, a budget this huge doesn't just appear out of thin air, right? It's built on the back of some truly incredible growth. Just look at this chart. In less than a decade, the average income, the per capita income in UP, has more than doubled. That's the kind of serious economic momentum that gives you the confidence to make these kinds of ambitious plans. Okay, so the big question is, where is all this money actually going? Let's kick things off with the big picture, kind of like checking the vital signs of UP's economy to see what's setting the stage for a budget like this. So for the coming year, the state's economy, what economists call the gross state domestic product, or GSDP, which is really just a fancy way of saying the total value of everything the state produces, is projected to grow at a blistering 13.4%. That's some serious speed. And it's that high-speed growth that, generates the cash to fund such an ambitious budget in the first place. But look, this isn't just about abstract numbers and percentages on a spreadsheet. This growth is having a profound, real-world impact on people's lives. The government is reporting that it has helped lift nearly 60 million people out of what's called multidimensional poverty. And that's key, because it doesn't just mean more income. It means better access to healthcare, to education, to just a better standard of living. All right, so what's the secret sauce? What's really fueling this growth? Well, a massive part of the budget strategy is pretty smart. They're doubling down on what's already a proven winner, the state's powerful industry and technology sectors. And how do you supercharge that engine? Simple. Investment. Lots and lots of it. Through its Global Investors Summit, the state has locked in commitments for a staggering 50 lakh crore rupees in potential investments. Just to put that into perspective for you, that's around 600 billion US dollars. That's an incredible amount of capital. And this slide right here perfectly explains why investors are lining up. UP is already an absolute manufacturing powerhouse. I mean, think about this for a second. 2 out of every 3 mobile phones made in India come from UP. It's also become a real leader in the startup scene, and get this, it's ranked as the #1 landlocked state when it comes to being ready for exports. But what's really interesting is that this budget isn't just stuck in the present. It's got its eyes fixed firmly on the future. The government is laying out a very clear step-by-step plan to build an entire ecosystem for artificial intelligence. They're creating a state data authority to handle all that information. And they're launching specific programs to make sure young people have the tech skills they need for tomorrow's jobs. Of course, all these flashy tech hubs and modern industries, they can't just float in thin air. They need a strong foundation to stand on. And that foundation is built on the classic pillars of the economy: agriculture and solid infrastructure. And yeah, you guessed it, this budget is pouring massive investments into those areas too. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? You can't run farms or factories or anything really without power. And this slide shows a huge leap in their thermal power capacity. We're talking a more than 55% increase in just a decade. That is absolutely crucial for keeping the lights on in homes, powering the farms, and running all those industries we were just talking about. And you know what's just as critical as power? Water. Over that same time frame, the state has added 60 lakh hectares. That's 6 million hectares of land to its irrigation network. And what does that mean? It's simple. More irrigated land means higher crop yields, which means more stability and security for the farmers. And hey, the results really do speak for themselves. Uttar Pradesh isn't just a major agricultural state. It's the nation's leader in a whole bunch of essential crops. We're talking everything from staples like wheat and sugarcane to delicious stuff like mangoes. It's no exaggeration to say it's truly India's food ball. So we've covered the plans for industry and for agriculture, but there's a third pillar to this budget, and you could argue it's the most important one of all.
It's the direct investment in the people of Uttar Pradesh through social welfare and, critically, skill development.
And a huge focus here is on empowering the state's absolutely massive youth population. The goal is to take that demographic potential, all those young people, and turn it into a real, tangible economic advantage. And the key to doing that is connecting skills directly to jobs. It's not just about training for training's sake. Through the Upskill Development Mission, over 4 Lakh young people have already been trained and placed in jobs with different companies. That's the real measure of success. And check this out. To make sure the next generation is ready for the digital world, the government has handed out nearly 5 million free tablets and smartphones to students. This is under the Swami Vivekananda Youth Empowerment Scheme, and it's a massive push to close that digital divide. And this empowerment focus isn't just for young people in general. There's a huge emphasis on women, with a strategy that attacks the problem from multiple angles. You've got Mission Shakti, which is all about safety and jobs. Then there are educational programs that have already helped over 2.6 million girls. And it even gets down to the ground level, with things like making sure women who are farmers get priority. So when you take a step back and you put all these pieces together, you've got this roaring economic growth, you've got massive industrial ambition, you've got foundational strength in agriculture, and then this huge investment in people. A very clear vision for the future really starts to take shape.
You know, the budget speech itself summed up this vision with a really beautiful poetic line. Diya jala ke roshni kar दूं jahan andhera hai. And that translates to something like, to light a lamp and bring light where there is darkness. It's a powerful way to frame this whole thing, not just as spending money, but as an effort to bring opportunity to every single corner of the state. And so, all of this leaves us with the one big lingering question. The ambition is undeniable. The resources, at least on paper, are there. That goal of becoming a $1 trillion economy feels like it's finally within reach. But the challenge now, as always, is execution. Can this historic budget truly transform the lives of 240 million people? Can it cement UP's place, once and for all, as India's primary economic engine? The answer to that question? Well, it's probably going to define India's trajectory for decades to come.